Wow. I still can't believe it, bro. It's been 2 days and I just... I don't even know if it's... Like it's obviously hit. Like, I've had time to think, but it's still just crazy to think about. Arsenal are Premier League champions. After all this time, after 22 years, we have done it. And look... Oh, shit. Fucking pop-ups. And look... Oh my god. Look, obviously I have not been around the whole time, but if you're an Arsenal fan, no matter how old you are, you have experienced some form of heartbreak. And to get this as a reward, crazy, man. I'll start... The thing is, I wanted to make this video earlier. I waited a couple of days. Obviously, I had all my instant reactions on TikTok and was talking to people about it and just going crazy. But I thought I'd take the time to sort of just gather my thoughts, really think about everything. I was going to write a script, but then I just thought, nah, it has to be genuine. It has to be from the heart. So, yeah, I'm just going to go one take, no cuts. See how we go, man. I'll start with, how I sort of went through it all. Obviously, I'm in Melbourne, so the game kicked off at 4:30 a.m. local time. And I'll be honest, I was pretty confident for the whole week. I remember after we lost at the Etihad, I was looking at all the games, seeing where City could slip up, and I saw Bournemouth away, and I was like, that's the one. That is the one. Bournemouth are in great form. City lost their last season. Obviously, lots changed since then, but I thought that was the game where it could happen. And then, when City got to the FA Cup final, it got to a point where they had to schedule all the games in, and I saw that they were playing Bournemouth Tuesday night, the last game before the final day of the season. And I was like, Vitality Stadium, under the lights, with Europe on the line. I was feeling it, and I was telling people all day, the day before, that we were going to win the league. That we were going to win the league tomorrow. That's what I told them. And I was right. So I woke up, put the game on. Obviously, I was nervous early. But it died down because City really weren't doing much. I thought Bournemouth were the much better side in the first half, especially. Then Krupa gets that goal, and bro, my reaction, I just go absolutely nuts. I don't even know if there are many goals that we've scored this season that I've celebrated more than that. Because that is when it properly hit me, like, it could genuinely happen. Like, even though I was saying it was going to happen after that game, that, like, genuinely, like, they were 1-0 up. And then the second half starts, and I'm thinking to myself, 45 minutes, and I just get more and more stressed. For about half an hour, from the second half kicking off to about the 80th minute, I was just getting more and more stressed. I was getting physically sick. Like, literally, I was getting a stomachache. I couldn't handle the stress. And then with 10 minutes left, it just ramps up. Like, it just ramps up a whole nother level. And then it starts to die down. And I start thinking... And I remember that City have to win. They need 2 goals. And the more time that passed in those last 10 minutes, the more I started to believe. The more I started to actually feel that it happened. And the second I think to myself, we've won it, Haaland scores. And then the stress just comes back. And those last couple of minutes with that Savinho break, I've never felt something like that before in my life. But then when full time goes, it's all worth it because the feeling, like, for a split second, I wasn't even like getting up, jumping around. It took me like a solid couple of seconds to just scream and then get up and jump around. Like, I wasn't running around in the sense of like, it wasn't like an explosion. It was more, I can't even describe it. Like, I was on the verge of tears. I was just grabbing my head like that. It was insane, man. It was insane because we've been through it, bro. We've been through it. Obviously, in recent years, there's the 3 second place finishes in a row, coming so close so many times. But before that, in the mud, going half a decade without playing Champions League football, being the laughing stock of English football. Baku, so many moments, man. The top 4 bottle under Emery, the top 4 bottle under Arteta. COVID, so many dark moments, and it all culminated in this. And bro, because obviously people, in the UK would have had their celebrations and then maybe gone to bed, maybe not gone to bed, but a lot of them would have. Whereas for me, it was in the morning, so I literally rode that wave for the whole day, and I was just seeing the scenes, hundreds of thousands of people outside the Emirates. Like, I wish I could have been there, but no other club does that. I was even seeing clips of people in Sydney, people in Cape Town, people all over the world. Absolutely crazy, man. No other club does this. Genuinely, there's not another fan base like ours. And look, it all stems from the weight, from the pain. But we did it. We fucking did it. And look, my relationship with the whole belief is interesting, and I'll get to the manager in a sec. But for the majority of this season, I've been confident we were going to get it over the line. Like, early in the season, at the start, going into the season, I didn't have much confidence, because whilst I rated our window more than I do now, I still think there was some funds that could have been allocated differently. I thought Liverpool were going to be way better than they were. Even City, who a lot of people weren't expecting to compete, I thought were going to be more consistent than they actually were. Which is weird, because I rated their defence like lower than I do now. It's kind of weird with City. But it was probably from like that November period, that like October, November period where we really locked in. I think it started in like September, after the Liverpool game. Also after the City game. From match week 5, sort of after those first few games, when we beat Newcastle, when we had that run where we couldn't concede a goal, where we were just winning week in, week out. I think the only points we dropped until the Aston Villa game in December was against Sunderland. Oh no, there was Chelsea in there as well. I don't know. I don't remember every game, but from that period onwards, I was pretty consistent that I knew we were winning the league. I thought we were going to wrap it up early, and then we went through a couple of bad patches where I was like, okay, it's going to be harder. We've made it harder for ourselves. There was the back-to-back games against Wolves and Brentford. Then we went on a little run where we beat Chelsea, Tottenham. We had that run. And then we had another bad patch in April, like we always do. And that's when people really started to not believe, because that's when we lost the lead. But I'm going to be honest, even after Etihad, obviously I was pissed off, because we should have won the league at the Etihad based off how both teams looked earlier in the season. I was still relatively calm. Like, I still believed, because it wasn't even just because of how I felt about this team. It was because of how I felt about them. But it's not about that. It's not even about that. It's about the feeling now, because we've won it. And that's not even me trying to flex, because there were also times I didn't believe that I'll get into. But it's been a long season. Like, we have played so many games, and the way this team plays, they make you stress, bro. Like, it's been a long, emotionally taxing season. But we did it. We got over the line. We did it. And there's one guy that the one that everyone should start with, before we mention the players, before we mention the board, before we mention anyone. The one guy we have to start with is Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta, because I'll be real, I've had a weird relationship with this process and this whole believing in it, because for the most part I was a believer. through the bad times, I could see the promising signs. You know, when we were struggling, I was like, you know, he's only been here a year, give him more time. Then we started to improve. The top four bottle happened, but we knew that something big was happening. You know, we knew that there were improvements. We saw it. And then, obviously, the last 4 years have been when we've really started challenging. And then for the most part, I believe, because I was seeing that improvement. You know, 22, 23, no one expected us to compete. Fell short. 23, 24, started off not great. You know, we were still top at Christmas, but we could tell that there had been a bit of a regression. And then after that Dubai trip, I mean, who could have wanted Arteta out at that point? Genuinely, that is the best Arsenal. Like in terms of just the football and the consistency, that was the best Arsenal team I've seen. I know they didn't win anything, but in terms of like the actual football, that's the best Arsenal team I've ever seen. It was only until last season and other stages this season where, well, I'll be honest, I lost faith. Because that was I remember saying, until we regress, I'm trusting this manager. Because it literally been linear improvement every season. From that FA Cup win, because we can't count that season, because, you know, it was his first season. From that FA Cup win, it started at the bottom, and then we got better and better and better and better until last season, where we saw a decline. You know, where we actually saw the football get worse. We weren't getting as the results weren't as good. Look, we got to 2 semi-finals, which we were a horrible cup team before that. We got to 2 semi-finals, but we didn't win anything. We didn't even compete. And that's when I really started to question this process. Question if Arteta is the guy to get us over the line. You know, there was the comparisons to guys like Brendan Rodgers. You know, a guy who can get you playing decent, but he was never going to be the guy to get you over the line. It's not really a perfect... I think it's closer to, like, Xavi at Barcelona. And I know he won league titles, but in terms of, like, that Champions League, he was never going to win it for Barcelona. But I was wrong, because Arteta is the guy that gets us over the line, and he did, and he proved it. And look, this season, there's still improvements. There's still improvements to be made. You know, the football is... I'm one who values good football. Like, I want to see the team playing good football, especially after what I've seen with this team. Not even just the Wenger days, because at least the Wenger days we were shit, whereas this team we were challenging and playing well. We just couldn't get over the line. But you got to put all that aside, because he delivered. He delivered. You know, I'll get more into this when I talk about the players, but there was a point where people thought we were going to bottle it. People were saying the bottle is here, and we were perfect from that point on. Perfect. Literally, we were professional. And I'll get in again. That's more for the players, but Arteta did it. The whole thing was, we get what he's done with Arsenal, and look, I've had arguments with the guys that did have their faith the whole time, and credit to them, because they were right. But I had arguments with those guys where they said, you know, they were talking about what he has done and going on about where he's brought us, and I know he has. But the one thing I said is he can we can give him credit for what he's done, but we've given him enough credit for that. I want to give him credit for getting over the line, and that's what he's done. So now that he's gotten over the line, that the process is complete, we can talk about what he's done, because this is a guy that came into this club at its worst. You know? The fan base was toxic, the team sucked, and he obviously won that trophy in his first season. It didn't pick up straight away, but it did eventually. And he made everyone believe. He made the players believe. He got rid of all the deadwood, the overpaid dross that didn't deserve to be Arsenal players. And he built this team. He built it from the ground up. He won the league the right way. Like, yes, we have had a lot of money pumped into this squad. But it's been the same guy the whole time. You know, we didn't go and sack a manager, bring in another manager in. We don't have all these charges and all this oil money. We are a proper football club. We brought in a former club captain, gave him the keys, and he did it. You know, there's that quote that I've been hearing for the last 2 days. I had heard it before, but it's been everywhere. Wenger built the Emirates, Arteta turned the lights on. And that's what he did. That is what he did. So yeah, full credit to Mikel Arteta. I just hope that finally doing it, finally getting over the line, will then give him the incentive to bring back what we were doing a couple of years ago. Bring back the proper football. Because if with the spine and the defensive solidity that we have built, if we add that, we're going to be hard to stop, man. We really are. And I'll talk about what the future has at the end. But yeah, full credit to Arteta, because everyone said when we were playing that football and couldn't win, he's just a B-Tech Guardiola. He's trying to be like Pep. He found his own way. And whilst it's not my favourite type of football, whilst I'm not the biggest fan of it, as long as it wins, there's nothing you can say. So full credit to Mikel Arteta. He has turned this team around. He really has, and we only have him to thank. Well, we don't only have him to thank, but you know, he's the main guy that we got to thank. Now let's get into the players, because I want to talk about the whole bottle thing. The bottle narrative has been a thing with Arsenal for so long. They've got a weak underbelly, all this shit, they can't get over the line. What we've seen over the past couple of months, or not over the past, month, is that they do have the bottle. Because we had it in our hands, we had a bad run of form in April, we lost to City, and they all said the collapse was coming. That was when the pressure was at its peak. And how did they respond? Let me tell you how they responded. Let me pull it up. Newcastle at home, win, clean sheet. Atletico Madrid away, draw. The only goal we conceded was a penalty. Fulham at home, win, clean sheet. Atletico Madrid at home for a Champions League final, win, clean sheet. West Ham away, win, clean sheet. That was a West Ham team that was one of the biggest games of their season. Burnley at home, win, clean sheet. 6 games, 5 wins and a draw that was a good result, and the only goal we conceded was a penalty. Perfect form in the league, got to a Champions League final, conceding 1 penalty. Professional. It wasn't great. There's probably only one game. The Fulham game is genuinely the only game where I left that game saying, that was a great performance. We played great football. That was the only game. But we didn't need to do that. We didn't need to do that every single game. All we needed to do was get the results. There have been so many games under Wenger, under Emery, under Arteta where we're playing well but we don't win. I would rather scam a win, or not scam. I would rather shithouse a win than play amazingly and lose. And that's one thing that I said about this team. I think I said it last summer. I said one thing Arsenal need to get better at is winning when they're not playing well. I felt like in order for Arsenal to win, I remember I said this last season, I felt like in order for Arsenal to win, we needed to play our best. Or maybe this was before that, because we should have some wins as well last season. But this season, we got so good at it. We got so good at grinding out results, and it's because of what's up here. It's because of these players and the mentality that they have. Because you can't question it now, because they've done it, they've won. And what this is going to do for this team moving forward, they have now tasted what it's like to win majors. I'm not even talking about winning a Carabao Cup. I remember months ago I said, When these guys, if we can win that Carabao Cup, the players will get a taste of winning, and it will drive them to the end of the season. I think I still would have been right. I think we probably would have won the league easier if we won that League Cup. But this is going to do it at a whole nother level. And I'll get into how, as I said, I'll talk about what this team has moving forward. But I almost think, and look, I would obviously never want Arsenal to drop points, never want Arsenal to lose the game, but I almost think that the way we've won it is like the sweetest way, because if we had just consistently been easily the best team in the league from November, we would have had the whole narrative of like, oh, well, you know, you didn't have any competition. Like, it would have been great. But I think the fact that they doubted us makes it even better. And look, because of the way we did it, people are going to say, oh, you're the worst champions, you almost bottled it, whatever. Who gives a shit? Like, genuinely, who cares? Like, we just won the league. You can be salty all you want. You can say what you want. I don't give a shit. But the fact that people doubted us makes it even better. The fact that I've got the clips of people reacting to the Declan Rice, it's not done, and laughing at him. You performative fraud. You know, you've bottled it. It is done. He was right. But guess what? It's done now. It's done now. And on Sunday, we're going to go to Selhurst Park. We're going to play the kids in a meaningless game, and we're going to lift the Premier League trophy. Now let's get to a more individual level, because I've talked about the players as a collective. Let's get to a more individual level. And we'll start with the only guy to start with, David Raya, the goalkeeper. What a season. The evolution of Raya in this team has been huge. Because when we signed him, there was a lot of the, Ramsdale, he had a bad run of form, but he was a good keeper for Arsenal. I don't know about but you're signing the Brentford goalkeeper to replace him. And in his first season, he was steady. Wasn't fantastic. I think that was our best defensive season up until this year. So he did the job in goal. But then last season, and then this season as well, he's turned into a world-class goal. He's turned into the best goalkeeper in the world. Forget world-class. He's the best keeper in the world. 3 consecutive Golden Gloves. I don't think there's a more complete goalkeeper than him. I really don't. On the ball, shot stopping, claiming crosses. He is just so complete as a keeper. And he's got to be up there in Arsenal history. He's definitely the best goalkeeper I've seen. Who's he competing with? Seaman, Lehmann? I don't think Raya's going to get sent off in the first 20 minutes next weekend. But no, all jokes aside, he is up there, and he is a phenomenal goalkeeper, and he's one of the big reasons we won this league. The rest of the defense, I mean, Gabriel and Saliba, just unreal. Saliba especially, he's always the one that I've preferred from the two, but both of them are just absolute units. Absolute units, man. So instrumental. Obviously, Timber, Calafiori, and Capier have all had a role to play in the best defence in world football. And then in front of them, we've got Declan Rice, the guy that's been put in the player of the season, debates. I personally would pick Saliba. Very, very unpopular choice. People are saying Saliba, or people are saying Rice, Raya, Gabriel, but for me it's Saliba. But Rice, man. I mean, Rice, the form that he had in that run, where he was bossing Bayern Munich, he was superb. And he's just been consistent. He's just been consistently a 7 out of 10 at worst. He is the guy. And the reason why Rice is so important, and as good as all those other guys are, Rice was the statement signing. Rice was the £100 million record fee off the back of our first title challenge, when everyone had said, and I remember that season, even when we were doing well, before we choked it, everyone said that this is just, Arsenal are going to fall off next season. There was a guy who City were eyeing up, and instead of going to a team where he was guaranteed silverware, he said, I'm going to do it the hard way. I'm going to do it where it means something. And he came to Arsenal. It was our record signing, a statement signing that told the footballing world that we are here to stay. We are serious. And I mean, what what a time he's had. I can't believe he's already been here 3 years. Like, it's just been... He's genuinely one of my favourite players ever, even in his first season, but he just keeps getting better and better. You know, he started off as this marauding six that was just an absolute gladiator off the ball, but he's added so much to his game. He's added set pieces, he's added goals, he's added driving forward with the ball. He is just, he's adding more and more to his game every season, and you can debate, you know, whether you think he's a 6, whether you think he's an 8. He's just the best midfielder in the Premier League. Look, you can debate Bruno Fernandes. For me, Declan Rice is a better, more consistent player than Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, man, he changed our lives. If there's anyone in this team other than the manager that has genuinely changed our lives, it's Declan Rice. You know, you can look at the other players in that midfield as well. You know, Zubimendi's had his struggles at times this season, but that form early on really helped us. Whereas Lewis Skelly's the opposite. Struggled to get games, but Arteta decided to drop Zubimendi for Lewis Skelly in the run-in, and Lewis Skelly's been phenomenal, like genuinely phenomenal. What a player we have on our hands in Lewis Skelly. I'm very confident he'll stay now. There was all the talk he was going to leave. You know, the other guys, everyone's had a moment. You know, Ødegaard, been injured, not played well for a lot of the season, but against West Ham, when we need to win, moment of brilliance. And whatever you want to say about him as a captain, the players clearly back him, and that's the whole point of a captain. Eze, oh man, I love Eze, man. I love Eze. He's one of my favourite players in the Premier League when he was at Palace. And then to get him off Tottenham and have him score 5 goals against them. You know, screamer against Leverkusen as well. Big goals against Newcastle, against Palace. So even though he's been inconsistent, he hasn't been there a lot of times, he has had moments. Everyone's had moments. You get to the attack, which has been slated all season. None of them have been that great. You know, none of them have been that great. Gabriel Martinelli scored 1 Premier League goal, and it was a late equaliser against City where he chips Donnarumma. Literally wins us the Premier League title. You got Trossard, had that great run of form early in the season, went 4 months without scoring, and then scores against West Ham in our final big game. The final game where people actually had confidence we were gonna lose it. You've got Gyökeres, our top scorer. Everyone likes to talk their shit, but in the run-in, he showed up. He scored goals. He's a bagsman. If you give him the service, he can score you goals, whether you rate him or not. I'm still not his biggest fan, but he scores goals. Kai Havertz, injured half the season. Big winner against Sporting to send us in through to the Champions League semis. Big winner against Burnley. Like, everyone has played their part. Everyone in this squad has had a role. And that is the thing. Because we talked about the squad depth and people said, oh, there's not enough quality, which, look, we need more this summer, and I'll talk about the future, but the whole point of a squad is that everyone knows their role. And when you've got a collective group of players that just back each other, that just trust the manager, that believe, anything is possible, man. Anything is possible. It's genuinely insane, man. I still cannot believe that we've done it. And it's not over. In the words of Rice. Bro, there's still a job to do. Crystal Palace will rock up to Selhurst Park. We'll lift the trophy. And then we're off to Budapest, man. If we can get that one done as well. Mad. Absolutely mad. But as great as this is, as incredible as this is, and if we win the Champions League, we'd only make it better. It's only the beginning. Because the Cronkies are the one party I haven't talked about. Because credit to them, ever since Josh, took a bigger role, things have been better. He's backed the process, he's backed the manager, he's spent the money. Don't stop now, because I'm looking around this Premier League Pep Guardiola's leaving. Yeah? Arne Slot is staying at Liverpool. I don't think that I don't think the Liverpool are gonna win the league with him in charge next season. I know he's already won it, but based off what I've seen, I don't think it's gonna happen, at least not next season. They'd have to spend big. City, with no Pep, with Enzo Maresca, I rate Enzo Maresca, but again, no guarantees they're going to be the same side. Chelsea are an absolute mess. They've brought in Alonso. He's a good manager. But is it going to change the fundamentals of that club? United, back to Carrick. Again, Carrick's done a good job, but does he have it? There is an opportunity. I don't want to say it because it's going to sound cocky, but there is an opportunity. I'm just gonna say there is an opportunity to win more. There is an opportunity to dominate. And look, if we go through another season playing like this with this squad, odds are it probably won't happen. I'll be real. But if this ownership back the process, if these players lock in, if we bring in what we need, and if we stay consistent, if our levels don't drop, there is more to be won. Genuinely, there is more to be won. We can retain this Premier League title. And look, obviously winning the Champions League would make wonders for Arteta. But even if we just retain this title, Arsenal haven't retained a Premier League title in almost 100 years. Obviously, league as well. We haven't retained a title in almost 100 years. If Arteta can do that, I'm thinking ahead of myself, man. I just got to soak this in. Got to enjoy it. And yeah, man. We've won the league. Credit to everyone on the journey. The people who trusted it the whole time. The people who didn't. You're all fans. And just enjoy it, man. Because we have won our first Premier League title in 22 years. Come on, you Gunners.